Okay, welcome ladies and gentlemen to this information session about relationships. Some administrative tasks first. The toilets are on the other side of the aisle there. The fire escape is either out the door or out the window. So, relationships can be a bit of a minefield for some people, but they're an essential part of the human condition. Love is one of the most profound emotions known to human beings. For some, romantic relationships are the most meaningful element in their lives, providing a source of fulfilment outside of ourselves. But the ability to have a healthy, loving relationship is not all innate. Failed relationships happen, and most of us have to work consciously to master the skills necessary to make them flourish. The good news is that with effort and perseverance, you can learn what you need to know to make your relationship last. So over the past 50 years, relationships have evolved from a strictly patriarchal form, where women basically had no say, to a more balanced form. There's been a paradigm shift, but we still have a long way to go to realise equality in relationships. Women are still paid less in lots of cases and are underrepresented in key positions of commerce and politics. Men are now encouraged to present a softer side to their nature in pursuit of better, more equitable relationships. In some cases, the woman has a higher earning potential than the man, so we are seeing the acceptance of house husbands as the primary caregiver to the children. Today, Michelle will be talking about the evolution of relationships, and we might be able to plot a course through the minefield of these human relationships. Michelle has a certificate in communication and counselling, which she has put into practice to help many people over the years navigate the shifting sands of interpersonal relationships. She also has a diploma in astrology and is running classes from here, and anybody who's interested in it, there are expressions of interest at the back of the room. Michelle is also a Reiki master. She also teaches psychic development and offers Reiki tuition for those that are interested, and you can talk to her about that later. I will now hand the floor over to her. Would you please welcome Michelle?
Thank you, Stuart. So here we are talking about relationships. We are currently experiencing an intense time in our relationships, particularly with those closest to us. This is a very powerful year for relationships in 2015. Mars and Venus are joining together in the sky at 3 different times this year. This is bringing about some evolutionary changes in the way we interrelate and with each other and within our relationships. Mars measures success in terms of quantity, whereas Venus measures the worth of her experiences according to quality. In 2015, there are 3 periods when we are offered opportunities to make evolutionary changes in our relationships. The last time these opportunities arose was in 1983 and 1985, when Mars and Venus were conjoined as they are now in 2015. This was a time of endings and beginnings. Relationships ended and new ones were forged, and a great deal of creative energy was surrounding us at this time. In 1983, for instance, Sally Ride became the first woman in space. Margaret Thatcher won a landslide victory in an election in the UK. And in 1985, Microsoft Windows version 1 was released. Live Aid Concert for Africa, We Are the World, was also released, and many songs about love, including I Want to Know What Love Is.
You know what love is.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm most happy to say I do.
Yeah.
In 2015, we are experiencing similar energy. Liquid water was recently discovered on Mars, with the possibility that there could be life on Mars, which is pretty amazing at this time. Now, between February 16th and the 28th of the 16th and 28th February, a cycle was completed. This was a very old cycle that began in 1118. So that was a completion of an amazing cycle that was begun then. Venus and Mars cycles have a 30 to 32 year cycle, so something will start at the beginning of that cycle and be completed at the cycle, and we're coming to a completion of another cycle now because of the 1985 and 1803 till now. So this is a completion of that cycle and the beginning of a new one. So we're confronted with issues of our relationships where there was an opportunity during this period to find a balance between our needs and the needs of others. If these areas were disproportionate in our partnerships, it would have come to light during this period. On February 21st, Mars and Venus were at the exact same degree, which is an incredibly powerful thing to happen in the sky, and as I said, only ever happens every 32 years. So it was amazing. And in Aries, representing new beginnings. So there's been a new beginning starting on a relationship level in our evolution. We were offered opportunities for love and maturation, and asked to be more honest and open in our relationships with loved ones, friends, and even our work colleagues. August 29th through to September the 5th, we were given another opportunity, and this time it was to step back and take a hard look at how we are expressing ourselves in the arena of relationships. What are we projecting, and who are we projecting it upon? This is the question to ask ourselves during this period. The psychological projection is known as blame shifting, for those who don't know what projection is. It is a theory in psychology in which humans defend themselves against unpleasant impulses by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. For example, a person who is rude may constantly accuse other people of being rude. And according to some research, the projection of one's negative qualities onto others is a common process in everyday life. October 27th to November 10th. This is an opportunity for those of you who may not have seen Mars and Venus together to have a look up in the sky during this period of time, and you will see Venus, that is the night star. At dusk it comes up and it will have a little star that's quite red beside it, and that is Mars, just so you know. They're travelling together again during this period. And we now have an opportunity during this period to focus on where we can heal and improve our relationships. There's a great deal of potential to forgive our faults and imperfections and to love ourselves and others unconditionally. This is a time to find courage and to be open and honest and open and authentic dialogue about unresolved relationship issues. This is a great opportunity at this time to make more conscious choices. This series of 3 conjunctions is powerful, with the potential to facilitate our growth, to self-actualise according to new priorities, to awaken. The veil is being lifted to show the love, forgiveness and compassion within us. We can surrender to unconditional love. Unless we form a bond of authenticity and self-honesty with ourselves, we cannot be in an authentic relationship with another. The relationship itself cannot awaken to its full potential if the individuals within it are not awake. A book by Jeffrey Wolf Green called The Journey of the Soul has inspired me to share this talk with you today, and as well as having this opportunity with Mars and Venus coming to its last conjunction this year, and will not come around again for another 32 years.
How many conjunctions do they have while they're in the same area?
They're having 3 this year. 3. And they had 3 in 83 and 85. As in, they had 2 in 85 and then another 3. So those 2 years were a bit of a phenomenon in the differences, how this happened. But normally, they have 3 in 1 year. Yeah? He talks about 3 stages of development that resonate well with the 3 Mars-Venus conjunctions of 2015. The first stage is called the conventional stage, and it does cover about 3/4 of the population, according to Jeffrey Wolf Green. We assign this stage assigns authority outside of the self. This stage fits in with the book Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, which again was around in those late 80s, that book. And it gave women and men a lot of insight into the way women and men operate differently. But we've come a long way since then, yes? And I'm happy to say that we have. That book was fantastic, but I think that a new one needs to be written as to where we are at now in our relationships. Again, the reason for this talk today. It's the herd state, as it's sometimes called, conventional, externalised. Followers, they look to others to see how to behave, celebrities, parents and religion. They look outside of themselves to see what is wrong, right, good, bad, success or failure. Magazines and books also have a strong influence here. This is a patriarchal system of belief where the man makes all the decisions, he is the breadwinner, he is the head of the household, and some of us have even raised our sons this way. This was the way things were in the 1940s and 50s and only started changing with the emergence of the women's movement in the 1960s. The feminine stereotype of women, serving, helping, nurturing, caring for the children, in charge of the home duties and making sure everyone's needs are met, including looking attractive as possible to make sure she keeps her man's interest, so she has a secure financial future in those days. The next stage, the second stage, is the individuation stage. And this covers those who have been let down by the system, let down by society in general, authority figures who chose what is right and wrong for us. People have revolted against the stereotypical types. It started with the women's movement. Women in the 60s started to want more. They wanted to have a say, an equal vote, and wanted a choice about how many children they had. They started taking the pill when it was introduced, giving them the choice to have children or not, and when and how many. They were tired of being barefoot and pregnant, so to speak. Some hated cooking and cleaning and were victimised for not being good housewives in those days. The second stage challenges the stereotypes and is a very confusing stage, and it can be chaos for couples. They are all unsure of what their roles are now. I'm not sure if you've heard people say their men don't know what to do, don't know how to operate. Women don't know what to do, how to operate. This is where we're at, where these stages and changes are coming to the population now. This is considered to be a rebellious stage. I am different. I don't fit into the framework of society. This is a more mental, mindful stage where people are more self-expressive and creative. The artists, the musicians, hippies they've been called, just to describe a few. The individuated stage is marked by anger and confusion, due to feelings being repressed, being let down by external authorities, banks foreclosing on farmers' mortgages, priests sexually abusing children, parents not walking their talk, do what I say, not what I do. External authorities that we believe knew better than we did for ourselves. And this has led to disillusionment within our society. This stage is seen as a rebellious stage, as some leap out of the illusions that have been put before them. According to Jeff Green, this is about 20% of the population. They don't fit in, and they tend to hide their true feelings to conform. They have to work and partake within society, and they've become more disillusioned by society in general. Some people even prefer to hang out with the animal kingdom. Have you ever heard people say, I prefer animals to humans? They are much more authentic. Saying that goes around. The second stage is very intellectual. It is about safety and security. People say, this is just my idea in this individuated stage. There have been many therapies that have sprung up to help us work through this stage, and by getting the help offered, we have been able to work through those ideas and needs are different from ones that we were raised with. That is why it is essential that we feel safe to share and discuss our individual issues with others. In stage 2, people have felt completely lost and confused as to what their roles are now, like I said. And this is where we are and have been for many years. The last time we had a shift in cultural beliefs was in 1983 and 1985. And what was going on for you during these years? Does anyone want to share? Think about that for a moment while I share you mine. I left a conventional religious relationship and became a single parent of 4 children. Got a job with a real estate, fixing and repairing houses once they'd become vacated from renters, and learned to fix my own car. And I was most empowered during this period in my life and have been since. Is there anyone else would like to share anything that might have been going on for them in 1985, 83 to 85? You can think about it and we can share it later if you like.
I was only one. So.
Yeah, some of you. Yeah, some of you would have been about that. Yeah. That's all right. Well, you can thank us for forging the ground before you then. The feminine energy has been slowly evolving from the individuated state. They want to earn their own money, moving towards their masculine and feeling empowered by the experience. Setting clear boundaries, they didn't want to be exploited or used or taken advantage of or even taken for granted anymore. They stepped up to the plate, so to speak. They toughened up. This has allowed men to soften up, and it has become okay to be sensitive, allowed to be who they truly were. Have you ever heard the saying, that woman wears the pants in that relationship? Some men may reply, I wear the pants, she just decides which ones. Which moves me into the third stage, which is unity. The stage we're coming to in November.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw! The stage that we've been striving to get to since 1983 and 85. The third stage, spiritual stage, is 5% generally of the population. So those new age sensitive guys out there, if you're feeling alone, we completely understand. Yes? And for the women out there who feel empowered and want to empower themselves, again, we completely understand. Well, I do. The third stage, the spiritual stage, 5% of the population, according to Jeff Green, are more in their hearts and feelings than in their heads. Moving from wanting to know it all to feeling it all and loving it all. Moving out of separation, judgments, the ego, their minds, to a more unity consciousness of oneness, and coming from a heart space leading to unconditional love and acceptance for their fellow humans. It is necessary for each stage to evolve to allow and complete the unity of togetherness. The third stage is one of spiritual unity of the masculine and feminine. Masculine in its core is about emptiness. They like things to be simple. Some just want beer and football, and things just to be very clear. The masculine energy is purposeful and action-orientated. I find the truth within myself and have stillness of the mind. The masculine energy is the void, the painter. The feminine energy is everything else, the canvas, the idea, the paint. Feminine energy shifts and changes and can inspire the masculine when allowed. Masculine is the seed which joins to impregnate with the feminine. She is the Mother Earth. She can let go and allow the seed to enter her. This is the third stage by the unification and complementation of each other. For the sake of a loving partnership, men are learning how to unite with women and are consciously practicing getting to know about women in general and their partners' needs more and more today than ever. They are more open than ever before to the changes within how they relate and operate within and around their partners. They are actively seeking unity, and it is important within this new way that we relate to one another. Allow each other the choice and the voice and the space within their relationships to be individuals. This can be achieved by both sexes learning to have clear boundaries, and through this open space we can come to our own conclusions and individual ways to relate. Our boundaries, ideas and needs can be different from each other, and that's okay. But with open dialogue, this can be achieved, i.e., men may want some space to watch the football or play golf, and women may want some space to have a massage, coffee with friends, or even shop those who like it, and vice versa. We do have women golfers these days. And we do have men who enjoy massages again.
And women who like the football.
We swap those two around.
So this brings us to a very important issue, and that is one of trust. Because things have changed, and both sexes have friends of the opposite sex. Look how far we've already come. It is our differences that can complement each other. That is what we all want to achieve in a relationship, a complementary relationship. One that is filled with trust, respect, and one that honours our individualities. This spills over into our relationships with bosses, friends, lovers, and even family members. To achieve all of this, I believe we need to feel safe to be honest and open about our differences, to be our authentic self. We are now experiencing greater gender equality, which is at the forefront of change. This third stage is where we are all looking for unity. To be able to openly, safely express our masculine and feminine qualities by both sexes, without the fear of retribution from society and those closest to us. It comes down to communication. Honest, open communication. We have an opportunity here now to believe that this new way of relating is possible and so close to being a more natural way of operating within all relationships we experience. We have men being house husbands proudly, showing their vulnerability as caregivers of the household, and women owning their power in roles such as CEOs, executives and politicians. Men can show their vulnerable sides and women can show their powerful sides in this day and age. We are enjoying experiences that are non-gender pacific now, more than ever, and this is where we can all continue to evolve too. We've all been given an opportunity to make free, conscious choices, to honour those parts of ourselves. And it will take more practice for some and more patience for others. Some may feel like we fail at times, when we fall into old patterns of relating. The important thing to remember is to keep coming back to making conscious choices, to support each other, with a commitment to each other to continue to grow and evolve. This third stage of unification, it will take unconditional love. While we find our own unique way on this journey into this new evolutionary realm of unified relationships. My final message here is for us all to reach this spiritual stage, we may need to surrender to devotion and love, to learn to know ourselves. What do we want? And to remember to stay open and receptive while still owning and honouring both parts of ourselves. This aspect is offering us all a deeper integration to the masculine and feminine within each of us, and it is playing its part on the general population to propel us to honour and respect both sexes. And when I'm saying this, I'm not just talking about heterosexual. This includes gay, lesbians and bisexuals and everything in between. You will notice that this relationship issues I'm speaking about today and where we're coming from and where we're heading to actually is across the board. Thank you all for coming and giving me the opportunity to share what I believe is very exciting times in our lives. Thank you. I'll now open the floor to any questions or comments anyone might have.
What was that final chunk of time again?
The third,
Over 27.
yeah, November the 20th, is it?
October 27 to November 10.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
That's all right.
October 27th to November 10th. Yeah. So yeah, keep an eye out in the sky because you will see Mars and Venus together. And this is the last, with us as humans, when we have two planets come together, we usually deny the energy that is being given to us. Then they come together again, and it's in our face, and we're going, well, I remember this from before, but I don't know, it's different and it's weird, and I'm not sure quite what to do with it, but I will sit with it for now. And then when it comes around to the third time, it's actually right in your face, and it's going, you need to integrate me into your life. Yeah, I'm not going away anywhere. So for those of you, you can absolutely choose to go to bed and pull the covers over your head and deny all of this stuff and ignore it all, but it will come back around in 32 years.
32 years.
32 years! I don't think
I don't want to wait that long.
I don't want to wait that long.
Let's do it now.
Yeah, let's go.
What
Yeah.
are you waiting for? Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it would suggest that where are we going to be in 32 years if we've just had this cycle, which is just the most amazing, amazingly powerful. So much has happened in the last couple of years as we're coming into this last time of that 85, 83 time, you know what I mean? Like coming into this new way of relating in relationships. And there it is. It amazes me every day I talk to people, and I'm just so thankful and wonderful to see that things are slowly changing towards more of a, evolving to more even and equal way in which people are relating, and they're being more honest. You don't have to hide things from your husband anymore, where you'd say, hide the credit card bill from my husband. Those sorts of things we don't actually have to do anymore, and things like that. So
See, I know I said I was one in 83, obviously, but I can tell you personally that for me, it feels like my entire life has been building to a point. It really does. I find it really hard to express the whole thing in a few words.
yeah.
But every time I speak with you, or every time I hear this, I have to go home and sit for about 5 hours going. Thank you. Because it's all been there. I just have never had the words. Or they've come to me, and I think, and then all of a sudden I'll go, that's everything I've been saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right there.
Yeah.
And then you have to go home and just rock back.
But you're one of many though, Hayley. I must, please don't feel alone in this, because you are one of many. Really, honestly, one of many. This is happening. What's happening to you, which is why I'm here. I want to share this with you because it's happening to a lot of people. I see a lot of people in my practice, and it is happening to so many people. And this information just helps you to know that it's okay. I'm not alone, number one, and I'm on the right track, number two. So
I have that feeling. It's just nice to
have it confirmed.
Oh, just to be able to hear it the way you express it. I can't express it in that way. I don't have all the knowledge, but yeah, it's just nice to know that it's got something inside.
Well, I suppose that's up to you, isn't it? You're obviously opening yourself up to evolve, so let's hope that it brings in new energy for you. Yeah. Has anyone got any other questions? Thank you, Joanna, for your question.
Can't remember.
27th of October,
Oh, yeah.
10th of November.
So that's the time when it's hitting the most. We'd already be feeling it now.
You already felt it in February, you felt it again in September, and you're feeling it again in this last bit in November. Yes.
So what would you imagine after November? What would you imagine?
I would imagine that we will see in the media or, more in the populated state that things have changed. Like even the last time I was here, I was talking about the change in the government and how Tony Abbott would be actually gone by this time. And it did happen. And Malcolm Turnbull. Now, I don't spend a lot of time watching the news, but I'm drawn to certain things. And I was watching an interview on the ABC with him, and he was talking about feelings.
Yes, he was.
He was talking about how, even though he is a millionaire and all of these things, he inherited that. He didn't come from that, and so he does understand what it's like to struggle in life, and that he is a much more in touch with his feelings. I nearly fell off the lounge. A politician to be talking about feelings. Are you for real? I'm pleased, but that's what I'm talking about. That's what you should see. across the population that, you know, and not only that, but we've got more women politicians now in the Malcolm Turnbull government than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
Again, that's this energy happening on the earth. So the more that this happens, the more that it's... So we've got another now 32 years to continue to evolve into this unified way of being. And by you all, thank you so much for coming and hearing me to speak about this. It brings it to the forefront of your mind, so you can share it with other people that you're talking to and going, wow, there's this new energy coming. And it's not really new, it's always been there. It's been there since the 1960s, even before. But it's actually being brought to the fore by these planets, which, in my own opinion, being an astrologer, I do feel that the planets have an effect on us on Earth. We are vibrational beings. That's a vibrational planet. And we are a planet on it. So yes, I do believe we are affected by the planets, and so it is helpful to know what the planets are doing and what they're trying to bring about, because we can just cut to the chase and get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Because we've got the knowledge to do so. So yeah.
So if those conjunctions,
yeah,
say, I'm probably not going to explain it well, but say if their effect on me lifts my vibration to here in unity,
yes,
when they move away, that resonance will stay.
yes, that's
For
what the
me,
November
then
one is.
Move forward,
Yeah.
holding
That
that
vibration.
because that's actually going to set into our
Yes.
crystalline structure or whatever.
Absolutely.
So it's not like it'll go away and we're back to square
No.
one again. We've
No.
actually been
Yeah.
shifted.
Yeah, we've been
Upgrade.
shifted. This is called a relationship shift. That's what this whole aspect has been about. It's being called a relationship shift on Earth. So you are not alone in feeling that shift. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's going to feel it.
Yeah.
Some people will stay in denial about it. Some people will stay in a relationship that... But what I'd like to say is that this gives us all, especially around the November time when the energy's running its highest, is to have an open dialogue, an open, honest dialogue with those people that you want to have a relationship with or are in a relationship with. And say, hey, look, it's okay that we're different. You know, I have my own ideas about this, and I'd just like to be honoured to have my own ideas. For all those people who have felt that they can't have those conversations, this energy is coming about to bring about a shift which will make it more, on a population base, okay to have them. Yes?
Support you.
Yeah, support you in that. Support house husbands, support all the changes that have been happening. You know, it is an exciting time. It's a really exciting time. Look how far we've already come. I mean, it's unbelievable to some. And even to me sometimes, I just go, wow. But it's exciting. Like, I love it. You know, I just go, yes, bring it on. We can do this, you know. So many people I know are having different kinds of relationships these days than you know, open and honest, and everyone being who they are, and everyone's being honoured in that, and even your own personal, not necessarily boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever else the mix is, just generally with your friends and hopefully with your family, you know. And if you're not having it with your family, feel free to sit down and have a conversation and go, whoa, have you heard about this shift that's going on? Don't have to mention planets if they're not into it. But have you felt something different happening in the way that we all relate to each other? You know? And just keep your eye out on what movies are coming out, because I can tell you, after this last conjunction, I reckon we're going to get some real, you know, Gone with the Winds and, you know, not on that calibre, I mean, but, you know, more equality kind of things. Even TV shows now are much more coming along those lines, where you've got that guy, 800 words. I don't watch a lot of TV too much, but 800 words, he's a single dad's taking his kids off to New Zealand, you know, and his wife passed over and he's looking at some woman's interest in him, and his daughter's going, oh, it hasn't even been 12 months, Dad, and he's going, yeah, but, you know, like, hello, it's like, you know, it's okay to move on, like, so all of those things are just, you will see a lot more of it, in my opinion, over the next 32 years, you know. Be really interesting to see what happens, because it's been such a big difference from 1983, 85 to now. Massive. Those of us who can remember, those that lived it, massive difference. So if it's a massive difference from that time to that time, imagine what it's going to be like from this time to this time.
I can even tell from the 90s, like from when I was, you know,
The
it's
baby
always
stuff.
No, the 90s I was in the teens.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
from then it was good.
A lot of relationships have ended in this period,
Yes.
and a lot of new ones have been forged. And that is this evolutionary shift. They're bringing them to a point where I've grown as much as I possibly can grow with you and evolved with you as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I'm open now and receptive to have, if anyone, or not, because they can be on their own and love being on their own. There's a lot of women out there at the moment who are actually loving being by themselves and going, I don't actually need a relationship, I don't need a man in my life. I'm actually getting to know myself and I'm really enjoying that process. Yeah, that in itself is amazing. Like, you know, when was it that, I mean, women weren't on it at all unless they were in a relationship. Like, when are you going to get into a relationship? You go, well, I don't think I will. And they go, oh my God, really? How are you doing that? So,
What's wrong with you? Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, have you gone butch on us or something? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Turning out, you know.
yeah. And the other thing in my own practice I've noticed is a lot of bisexuality coming out because women are not finding men or men are not finding women for that unification, so they're going to their same sex and getting it because those sexes are owning, those ones that are owning their masculine feminine on both sides. So that this whole, you know, equality thing is not over, let me tell you, not by a long shot. So, yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited about it. I've been waiting since 1983, 85. So, you know, just doing the walk, sharing the information, you know, and not from a troublemaking point of view, but from a rebellious one, definitely.
Could you define the difference?
What's that?
Could you define the difference?
Oh, troublemaking and rebellious. Knowing when to stop,
Point of view.
knowing when to pull back, knowing when you know the person's not interested,
Yeah, yeah.
knowing when
Yeah.
that couple's fine the way they are or whatever else, or you know, just having boundaries. Comes back to having clear boundaries. Yeah,
I'm pushing them.
little bit.
Yeah, totally. Always pushing them. See what happens.
Yeah, but I must say I've manifested, you know, with my partner a wonderful over 20-year relationship that he's taught me equality. Absolutely taught me equality. He's been my most wonderfulest teacher, truly. I was very conventional even when I met him a couple of years after my first marriage ended. And he was the one who would say, 4 children, blah, blah, blah. It's not about him coming home and sitting on the lounge. It's about let's get the job done so we can both get to bed. You know, we've got food, we've got homework, we've got uniforms, we've got it all. So he's definitely was the one who's taught me about equality. So there are beautiful, wonderful men out there who already knew it and know it and share it with us women. So it's not just women to men, it's men to women as well. Yes?
Mm.
You know? So, yeah, thank you, darling.
Please thank yourself.
Cup of tea? Anybody?
Can I offer a suggestion that came to me?
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone knows any of this stuff. I didn't know if I could make it here, and I nearly texted and said, could Stuart record it and put it up on YouTube?
It is being recorded.
Well, there you go.
We organised it for
But-
darling.
Yeah.
And we
But-
are planning. It was a little bit missed, but that's
No, you got the audio for the start.
I didn't have it on.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
So we missed the.
Missed the video, but it will be put on YouTube. That's
Yeah.
And what
Run
Yeah.
that.
I have
I
my.
just find your information so it clicks with me,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's the idea.
That's the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, and I was worried if I couldn't get here today.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, if Stuart could put it up on YouTube.
There's a few people who didn't make it today, so they will be most impressed that I finally got technology people in my life that have brought it to the fore to allow this to get onto YouTube, because that has always been my dream, to get it out to as many people as it possibly can.
Excellent.
You get on YouTube and put it on Facebook, hey, I'll share it for you.
Thank you.
If I don't like
Thank you.
that way, yeah.
All right, so there is a cup of tea available. There's herbal teas. Please feel free to make one and introduce yourselves to each other. And you know, sharing is always a wonderful thing. So please feel free to share. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, straight to the other side. Yeah, non-specific.